And welcome back to News Channel 3 Live at 9. Two women, 2,000 years apart, both connected to the same story despite the 2 millennia that separate them. That's the basis of a new historical novel from renowned writer Karen Essex.
Stealing Athena takes us back in time to meet these 2 women, one from ancient Greece and the other a Scottish heiress and countess, as we discover the power held by both. And Karen, we are just in awe because just that little bit of information tells us that you must have been researching this since you were 12. How much research went into this?
Yes, I've been researching it since I'm 12, and that's been 7 years ago.
Okay, we got you covered. Okay, we got the math
and
going
you'll look great.
I saw the Elgin marbles, which are the pieces of art at the center of the book. Originally, I saw them in 2001, and I became utterly fascinated with the journey of the marbles. From their inception, their creation in ancient Greece, all the way through the 1800s when they were removed by Lord Elgin and put in the British Museum. And as you know, it's still a very controversial thing today.
Yes, it is.
Were you naturally almost an historian, or what kind of really prompted you towards these 2 women in particular?
I write specifically about strong, influential women in history, women who have impacted the cultures that they lived in and actually impacted history itself. And as you know, we aren't always written about in the history books.
Largely not. Yeah.
I have a young daughter, and when she was growing up, she could not name one powerful woman in history except for Madonna. And we're not talking about the mother of Jesus.
We understand where you're coming from.
So at the time, I was considering writing a book about Cleopatra, and I thought, my goodness, these girls think that we have no history. You know, that we have not influenced the world that we live in. And so at that time, I just made it my mission to start reviving stories of very prominent women.
Well, because when you think about it, your point is well taken. When we think strong women in history, we think of the suffrage movement, perhaps.
Right.
Rosa Parks, very recent history.
Right.
But thousands of years ago, how were these women impacting their world? Because they were very limited in what they were allowed to do. How did they get around that?
They were limited, but the truth is that women have always managed to find a way to thrive and survive and influence the world around them. And a lot of times it was done through their husbands or fathers who were powerful men. But the 2 ladies in Stealing Athena, you'll see if you read the book, they did manage to emerge and actually run the show. And
maybe without the men always knowing it, though.
At times. It's funny, my heroine from ancient Greek days, Aspasia, was the mistress to Pericles, who was the most powerful man in Athens at the time that Athens was at its greatest power. And do you know that she had the same kind of relationship with him that, say, Hillary Clinton has with Bill Clinton? And do you know that she was as excoriated as Hillary for having a partner who treated her like an equal and asked her advice?
So it seems like history repeats itself.
It just doesn't change.
These stories and the 2 main women that we were talking about, Karen, are their stories, without giving away too much, really connected?
In an almost haunting way. I was so lucky as an author because their stories just resonate, and even though they lived 2,300 years apart, their experiences were so much the same. Both of them were sort of at war with their own cultures to try to just become who they really were. And both women ended up being prosecuted in very difficult trials.
Well, and for those out there who maybe haven't even heard of the Elgin marble, tell us what the basis of that is.
Well, the Elgin marbles, or the Parthenon sculptures that they're sometimes called, are these magnificent examples of classical Greek sculpture that were taken by Lord Elgin from the Parthenon and placed in the British Museum.
And that's where the controversy starts, of course.
Yes, where they still are today and where the Greeks are still begging to get them back.
Wow. Is this book and all of the research that you've done, Karen, on this, is it prompting you to write maybe a follow-up to it, or what's in the works next?
I don't know that there's a follow-up to this book. I am writing another historical novel right now, which I would invite all your readers to go to my website, which is KarenEssex.com. And on my blog, I'm blogging about my actual travel and research process.
Oh, wow. Is this the first time you've done that?
Yeah, so a lot of students read my books, and so I wanted to give them insight into what it's like to actually have to research and travel to write this kind of fiction. So I hope they'll come and follow along with my journey.
And many people can come out tonight and meet you at Davis Kidd Booksellers.
That would be delightful.
6 p.m. Stealing Athena. I can't wait to finish it. Matt, who loves ancient history,
Your son,
is reading
right?
it.
Excellent.
17-year-old boy is in your corner.
fantastic.
That says a lot.
Figure that out.
Karen, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Glad to have you here.